This is Morning Juice. Sports, insight, and great storytelling. Starring Bobby Carpenter and Jeff Tito Thitoff. It's time to attack and dominate.
Attack and dominate on this Friday. Tito, Bodie, Carpenter, Bobby. Did the show Where in the World is Cameron Sandiego hit your generation?
I don't know who Cameron is. I know who Carmen is.
Carmen. So that one did hit you. I'm saying that one did hit you, though. Okay, because that's why I feel like we're playing with you. I feel like we shouldn't tell people where you're going to be. We should just give clues, make them smarter. Bob, where are you today?
Okay.
You in Philly today?
Maybe I should give you clues and see if you can figure it out. I'd like that.
No, because you're trying to make me look dumb because I won't get it right away. You would say, I'm in the state where Philadelphia and the Liberty Bell are.
You and Cameron can sit here and try to figure out where I am.
Bob, I remember I was dating a girl one time. We had a long road trip that she wanted me to quiz her on state capitals.
Yeah.
And
you never played the game? The state game?
Didn't plan on playing in my mid-20s with a girl. But anyway, we're in the car doing that. And she could not, for the life of her, get the state capital of Utah. And so I finally gave her the
Salt Lake City. That's
I know.
easy.
I gave her the hint. I said to her, it rhymes with malt cake pretty, and then she got it after that. That's how smart she was. But she was very cute. Anyway, big show lineup for you today. Morning Juice sponsored by Riverside Bank of Dublin. 2 hours here on YouTube, the Fan app, Twitter, and Facebook. Catch the show 10 a.m. to noon on 10 TV Plus. Download the podcast anywhere you get your audio. Big show lineup for you today. Aaron Portzline is going to join us at 7 o'clock. The NHL draft is tonight. Jackets made a couple of moves yesterday. We will talk to him about that. AJ Hawk will close up the week for us the best way we know how. He'll be on at 7:40. We'll do all of that. Reds and Guardians both off last night. Reds are at the Pirates tonight at 6:40. Guardians and Mariners go off at 7:10 in Cleveland. Last night in the World Cup, U.S. men's national team fell to Turkey 3-2. The game didn't matter, Bob. The U.S. already locked. Well, no, it didn't matter. It was already locked in. It was already locked in their spot, yeah.
I understand that. We talked about that yesterday. We knew that 3 days ago. 40.
I know. But it's that's why when I look at it, though, it's I don't – already woke up this morning when I woke up and asked me who won the game, and I told him, and he was like, oh, Dad, the game was a throwaway game from Rochester is what it was. That's essentially what this was. Well,
they've never won 3 games in a group stage. So there's that significance. They didn't play a lot of guys. Did you watch it?
I did not watch it, no. But I did follow it, though, and I know that they did not play all of their players. What's that?
You were awake and didn't watch it?
I was awake in bits and pieces, Bob. It was I hit the pillow about 9 o'clock last night, and then as you know, when maybe you know it now, maybe you know you get older. Sometimes you have to get up and use the restroom in the middle of the night or after, and I got up at about 10:30 or so. And I was following it a little bit, but not watching because I went back to sleep. I woke up again around 11:30, just see, and followed it there a little bit, but then bed after that. So, no, I didn't watch any of it. Did you watch much of it?
I watched the last 70 minutes of it. Wow. So we were at dinner with my cousin down in downtown Philly. We got back, and I had some work to get done. And I told Colin, let's put a World Cup game on. And he's like, it's U.S. I completely forgot that they were on tonight because, like you said, it did not matter for seeding.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think momentum is important, and they scored right away, scored quickly. Then it's 1-1. They had a couple shots for a goal. They scored one. It got called back because of an offsides, and then all of a sudden, 30 seconds later, I had looked up, and Turkey had taken it all the way down, and they had scored and got up 2-1. Battled back. They put Christian Pulisic in about the 60th minute, somewhere around there. They end up scoring to go 2-2. They had a lot of great chances. They outshot Turkey 2-1, maybe more than that even. And then Turkey scores in the last 10 seconds of 7 minutes stoppage time. Crazy time. It's all right, we battle back, got a tie, going to get 7 points out of this whole group stage. It doesn't matter. But Turkey was battling because they're going home. They're the team in the group that was left out, so they finished last. But they did get that win. And Christian Pulisic did come in, played well, looked good. To my knowledge, I think was fine after the game. So hopefully this team And then the best part is they sing Country Roads after the game, which is awesome. So I love to see that. And the whole play, where was it at? LA yesterday, was all singing Country Roads, which was fun.
Was playing Pulisic the right move? Because I wondered about that. If it is the throwaway game in Rochester, and he is one of your best, if not your best player, does it make sense to roll him out there in that game? I know he came in late. What, 57th minute it was? Is that what you said it was? I think it was 57th minute, right?
Yeah, somewhere in those around 60s when they tried to get him in.
So, you get it for the last 30 minutes of the game or so, whatever, 35 minutes when you count the additional time. But was it smart, do you think, to play him?
I think so. If he's healthy to play, here's the argument. If he's healthy to go, I don't know if he needs to play the whole game, and maybe they want to get a feel for the game, but he needed to get a feel for playing. I mean, he played a little bit in that first game, didn't play at all in the second, and you got to test stuff out. I mean, he could have given it another 3 or 4 days, 5 days. I think they play on the first. But if you're healthy to go, at some point you need to get out there and do some things. So, like I said, between him and the doctors, trainers, working on that. But if you feel good, like you've got to get a rhythm and get a flow. You don't want to be going out there and trying to play because you only get 5 subs. This isn't like basketball or football where you can just take a guy out and he's out for the rest of the game and it's okay. You've got to see, can you handle 30 minutes? And so hopefully I think they're banking on the fact that he did. He looked good, was able to move, get a little rhythm and flow going, and then, hey, maybe we'll have you out there for the long haul next week.
Do you think, Bob, for television ratings, it is better for the network, for Fox, if the U.S. is in the final versus, like, say, a Brazil and an Argentina? And I always ask, it's like there's other countries that are soccer crazed that have traveled over here, traveled to Canada, traveled to Mexico, whatever, that take it, that are more invested in it than American fans. But as far as like just looking at like worldwide rankings, worldwide ratings, do you think it's better if the U.S. is in it at the end, semifinals, finals, or not in it?
I'm pretty sure when you come to the ratings and different things and how the advertisers view this, having the USA go as far as possible would be the biggest boon that they could potentially have. And because it's all here domestically, like that's one of the things with the ratings. When you had when Toronto was playing the NBA Finals, like those ratings don't count in the U.S. rating system. And so you want to draw the biggest domestic number you can. And so because of that, like all those other countries, they have their own broadcasts and everything else. So you would 100%. I know people that are over here and Brazil and Argentina and some of these teams countries are huge, huge brands that have been wildly successful. But for the purposes of America and Fox, you would want the United States to go as far as they possibly can.
All right, Bob, you may be smarter. Make me smarter-er.
Time to get smarter. Morning Juice presents Today in History. Here's your professor, Bobby Carpenter.
Okay, here we go. It's Friday, June 26th, the 177th day of the year. $1.88 remaining in this 2026. This date, 1870. The U.S. government declares Christmas a federal holiday. This date, 1906. The Grand Prix is held in Le Mans for the first time. 1959, Swede boxer Ingemar Johnson becomes the world heavyweight champ by defeating Floyd Patterson.
Johansson, right?
Johansson, yes. Defeating Floyd Patterson by a TKO in the 3rd round in Yankee Stadium, which is pretty amazing. It's a little outdoor boxing right there. This date, 1963. JFK, during his speech, declares, Ich bin ein Berliner, supporting West Germany after the Berlin Wall is erected.
Freedom is indivisible. And when one man is enslaved, all are not free. All free men, wherever they may live, are citizens of Berlin. And therefore, as a free man, I take pride in the words, Ich bin ein Berliner.
Dude was smooth, Bob. He was smooth.
Oh, yeah.
Knew how to play to a crowd.
Absolutely. Being a great orator, being a good-looking guy like him, I mean, that's going a long way in politics. This date, 1974, the first UPC code is used. Do you know where that happened, Thitoff?
I believe it happened in Ohio. I think I don't know if it's Columbus or Dayton. I'll say Dayton.
Okay, good. You're close. You get like 3/4 credit for that. It was in Troy, so just outside of Dayton. Do you know what was purchased?
I believe it was a box of Uncle Ben's rice.
Not close on that. Pack of Wrigley gum at Marsh Supermarket. Do you know what the term UPC stands for?
I believe it stands for United Parcel Code.
Universal Product Code. Not too far off. That was pretty good. That was pretty good by you, Jeff. I'm going to give you some credit on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, wild that it happened in Troy, Ohio. Remember the first time I found that like 6 years ago when we started this thing, maybe 7, that learning about all that. 2 years later, 1976, Baby I Love Your Way by Peter Frampton is released.
Bob, in addition to, I'm watching you live, I was watching you on YouTube, and my feed's a little bit behind, so it looked like you were singing Baby I Love Your Way, just so you know for me.
Maybe that was me and not Peter Frampton. Actually,
I
recorded that last night and sent it over to Bodie. Pretty good on me. This date, 1990, the Nelson Twins have their debut album, After the Rain, sells 2 million copies with the lead single, Can't Live Without Your Love. Tell you what, those were some handsome dudes.
They were some pretty boys there.
They had that nice pressed hair. They wore those blouses with those nice knee-high boots.
You know where you bought that shirt? It sure as hell wasn't in the men's department.
100%. They look good. It was the video for that's great. Rothman introduced it to me about 10 years ago. It pops up in a playlist for mine from time to time. This date, 1997, J.K. Rowling publishes the first in I don't know what the series of books is now, 8, 9, whatever she wrapped it up with, Harry Potter.
The sorting ceremony will begin momentarily.
It's true then, what they're saying on the train. Harry Potter has come to Hogwarts.
Harry Potter.
This is Crabbe and Goyle. And I'm Malfoy. Draco Malfoy. Think my name was funny, do you? I no need to ask you yours. Red hair and a hand-me-down robe. You must be a Weasley. You'll soon find out that some wizarding families are better than others, Potter. You don't want to go making friends with the wrong sort. I can help you there.
I think I can tell the wrong sort for myself, thanks.
Bob, you in a hotel or an Airbnb?
I'm in a hotel.
Okay.
Different one than yesterday, though.
Yeah. In the movies, if you ever decide, hey, I think I'll see what's on, maybe see one of the movies. I don't know if they still have that in the hotels or not, but just be very careful if you try to watch a Harry Potter movie. Pay close attention to the way things are spelled because it could be a different kind of movie.
Oh, okay. Those movies usually cost a little bit more, Jeff. So, I mean, hopefully, we probably won't be renting any of those. Got a list of some stuff that I want to start watching, so we'll maybe dive into something else. And then this date, 1999, Pearl Jam, their cover of Last Kiss hits number 2 on the charts. So I've got to be good so I can see my baby when I leave this world. What a great one. Really good by Eddie Vedder there. One of my favorites. Some birthdays today. Hal Greer, born on this date, 1936, the 10-time All-Star with Philadelphia. Sean Hayes from Will and Grace, turning 56 today.
You guys, I'm so freaked out. I just got the first script for my new TV show, The Badge, and my character, Detective Chuck Rafferty, has to pistol whip somebody.
Hey, Jack, maybe I could help you. When I was addicted to painkillers, I used to pistol whip people for jaywalking.
Yeah, no. I need a man's man. Someone who really knows what it is to be a violent, womanizing alcoholic.
Hey, Kit.
Pretty good show right there. Funny stuff with old Sean Hayes. One of the stars of Batman, was in a lot of stuff on fire in the 90s. Turning 56 today, Mr. Chris O'Donnell.
All I can think about every second of the day is getting Two-Face. He took my whole life. When I was out there tonight, I imagined it was him that I was fighting. Even when I was fighting you. And all the pain went away. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Good. Because you got to help me find him. And when we do, I'm the one who kills him.
Val Kilmer, not quite as good as Christian Bale, Bodie, but he did an okay job. Turning 53 today, country singer Gretchen Wilson. The captain, no captain, my captain, Mr. Derek Jeter, turning 52 today.
Now batting for the Yankees, number 2, Derek Jeter. Number 2.
Well, the script is there. The last page is in Derek's hands. Meek deals. Base hit to right field. Here comes Richardson. Here's the throw from Markakis. Richardson is safe. Derek Jeter ends his final game with a walk-off single. Derek Jeter, where fantasy becomes reality. Did you have any doubt?
Forgot he got a walk-off single on his last hit. Yeah. Very appropriate for a guy as accomplished as he was. Turning 50 years young today, the former quarterback of the Marshall Thundering Herd and played a while in the NFL with the Jets, Dolphins, and I believe maybe one or two others, Mr. Chad Pennington.
Pennington. Oh, my! I can't believe he did that to Eddie Robinson. Eddie, I'm sorry, buddy. Pennington, hardly a world-class sprinter. Oh, my, and a linebacker does not like getting juked like that by a quarterback. And Hall adds the extra point. They're loving Chadwick Pennington in the Big Apple. Everyone but Eddie Robinson. Oh, my.
Ooh, that was a rough one, man. Chad Pennington, not a great athlete. A man that did play quarterback probably a little bit differently and one of the greatest probably athletes to walk the face of the earth. Turning 46 today, Mr. Michael Vick.
Vick on 2nd and 8, off the play fake, has some running room. Inside the 30, inside the 20. Vick into the end zone. Falcons win in overtime. A 46-yard touchdown run. His second touchdown run of the game, scored from 28 earlier, and he finishes with 173 yards rushing.
God, he was good. He was so electric.
That was a backbreaker. Oh, he was unbelievable with the ball in his hand. So talented. And then played in my rookie year in Atlanta. Actually, I think I got a sack and a half against him in that game, maybe 2.
Did you against?
Go back
really?
And look. I had 2 open field tackles on him. Didn't miss one. I had him twice, but it felt like it was me and no one around. I go back and look at it, and there was some help coming. But at the time, looking at him running at me, I was not terrified, but it was just all right. It was like a Saturday night game on NFL Network. I'm like, so everybody's watching this thing. he was remarkable. Then I played him later in his career when he came back with Philadelphia as well, and still not quite the athlete he was, but still very, very electric. Some passings today. Passing away on this date, 2007, Liz Claiborne, and then passing away on this date, 1993, the 8-time All-Star World Series champ, Mr. Roy Campanella.
There's something new this year, the twinkling lights of the cell phones. It always brings back the memory of Roy Campanella, the Coliseum, 1959. They used matches then. 93,000 people that night lit matches in the Coliseum. Tribute to Roy. Pee Wee Reese pushing Campanella out to the mound in a wheelchair. And Campanella pointing out 93,000. That's my number backwards. He wore 39. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yep. The year was 59. A remarkable year. Unfortunately, Roy had to enjoy it from a chair. But enjoy it he did. His chair suddenly became a throne.
Campanella was, the 93,000, I think, is still the largest crowd to watch a Major League Baseball game. I think it was an exhibition game out in L.A., but it was like a benefit thing for him. I think he played 9 years in the bigs before he got into a car accident where his car hit a telephone pole. But in 9 years, though, he won 3 MVPs, Bob.
Yeah, 8 All-Stars, 3 MVPs. It was really, really good. Some holidays and observances. It is Forgiveness Day. It is National Canoe Day, National Food Truck Day, and Tropical Cocktails Day. And those are historical events, your birthdays, your passings, your holidays, observances for this date, Friday, June 26th, the 177th day of the year with $1.88 remaining in this 2026.
Well done as always, General. On Father's Day, I think that most of us of the male species would prefer not to get unexpected like Hallmark cards in the mail. Fair to say?
Like for kids you didn't know about? Is that what you're being insinuating?
That's what I mean. That's what I'm insinuating there. Yes, Bob. So you wouldn't want that. But I would think on National Forgiveness Day, I hope I get some phone calls. I hope people call me. I hope some people that I've wronged. I hope I get, if it's National Forgiveness Day, I think I should keep my ringer on all day.
That's a hope. We'll see if it pays off.
Do you have my number? Will you call me?
I will not, but I don't know if I need to forgive you, so I think we're good.
All right, there we go. Coming up next, Ross Bjork spoke yesterday. We'll hear what he had to say next. Morning Juice.
At QC Kinetics Columbus, patients find lasting joint pain relief. Regenerative treatments help repair damaged tissue. No surgery, downtime, or steroids.
So after I got done playing football, I still like to work out. Go do all of the activities that I love so much. And unfortunately, I started having a little bit of pain in my knee. That's when I went and saw my friends at QC Kinetics. We were able to go in there, get the consultation, get treated, and now my knees, well, they're as good as new.
Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. Better starts here.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no. Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
We have a desire and passion for great customer service. Every detail is important to us. From your first phone call to the end of the project, Newman is here to help you every step of the way. We're here to educate you so you understand what's happening with your roof. We're in your corner to help you be confident in your decision. After all, when your name is on it, it just means more. We are Newman.
Since 1969, Germain Toyota of Columbus has been delivering an exceptional experience to Central Ohio drivers. Whether it's versatile SUVs, stylish trucks, or efficient hybrids, Germain Toyota has a great selection of new and pre-owned vehicles at customer-friendly rates, backed by 2 years of maintenance with Toyota Care and same-day service from our trusted team of technicians. Experience the difference with every drive at Germain Toyota of Columbus.
In the old days when people lived to be 40, you only had one option for listening to your favorite show. But now, ooh, baby, radio, podcast, the Fan app, and YouTube, ooh, just to name a few, live or on demand. You have no excuses. The Fan.
Everybody thinks they're a great driver.
And Outlaw Motor Speedway gives you a chance to prove it.
Experience professional racing simulators, full motion rigs, and some of the world's most iconic tracks right here in Grandview.
Race your friends, join the league, or bring the entire office out for an unforgettable corporate event.
And when the checkered flag drops, keep the night going with great drinks and food right here or next door with the Gave and Ride.
Then climb back in the driver's seat and see who has what it takes.
Don't miss out. Book your race today. OutlawSimRacing.com.
Delaware County Veteran Services is a county office that faithfully assists veterans of Delaware County. Although not the Department of Veterans Affairs, we help veterans and their dependents navigate through the process of applying for benefits administered by the VA, and we provide transportation to VA medical facilities. So if you're a military veteran or a spouse of a veteran, schedule your appointment today. A wide range of VA and local benefits may be available to you. Delaware County Veteran Services, conveniently located in the historic courthouse in Delaware.
Tito has had 2 wives. They've both been named Heather. If you know someone named Heather, please warn her. This is Morning Juice.
All right, Morning Juice. Tito, Bobby, Bodie here with you on a Friday. Final day of the week here. Stick around because 7 o'clock we'll have Aaron Portzline on. And then also close the show out with AJ Hawk. Bob, earlier in the week, and this was something that you shared with the audience about something going on with your family, with your father. Love You Blue, Rob Carpenter, and someone in the chat asked about this. I'm going to tread carefully here, but I'm curious if we can get an update on how things are going with Big Rob.
Yeah, I appreciate that. He's over at the Ross Hart Hospital at OSU now, and things are still in the ICU there. Not doing great, but trending better at least. So we're appreciative for all of the prayers that have been sent our way. Feel pretty good. Feel like we got a pretty great team working on him now, and I appreciate all the prayers for it. Believe me, it means a lot to us, and that's where we're at. Hopefully, continuing to get some better news today and tomorrow and through the weekend.
All right, yeah, absolutely. Thoughts and prayers for the Carpenter family and that. And I know it kills you, Bob, not to be here during all of this, but I know you you and your son were out there making some memories as well, which is nice to see that. Bob,
I asked my mom. I asked my mom, "Do you want me to come back?" And she goes, "My brothers have been over there, and frankly, I mean, he's been sedated a lot of the time." And she goes, "He would not want you to pull your son out of there for him." And so yeah, I had thought as much. So so we stayed out here, and we've been communicating a lot. But yeah, I knew that knowing him, I had a pretty good inclination of what I thought he would want, and my mom kind of confirmed that with me. So I'm like, all right, we're going to finish this little road trip here, and we're going to see him when we get back.
Can I text your mom and ask her how she's doing?
Yeah, if you want to, that's fine.
I already did, Bob. I did. I've already done. I've texted your mom a couple times already. I've already done. It's better to ask for forgiveness and permission, but nonetheless. Yesterday, Ross Bjork spoke, and I guess the press conference was at the Jack Nicklaus Museum. And according to what Biddle put out there, the last time that Ohio State had a press conference out there with the football team, it was the famous Gordon Gee, "I just hope he doesn't fire me" thing went on, I guess, with the
That's unbelievable.
Thing. That's what Biddle put out there. He tagged you on, I think, on Twitter. But yeah, he said that was the last time that he remembers being out there for a football press conference was that moment. Ross Bjork, Bodie, we got audio there. Okay, Ross Bjork talked about what's going on as far as some renovations they have to make with the WHAC.
The location will stay in the same footprint, right? So really what we're looking at is the existing building that is on the north side of the building, right? The offices, the team meeting rooms, the coaches' conference rooms, Coach Day's office, the locker room, the training room. What we want to do is we want to expand the locker room, expand the training room, develop a bigger team meeting room at some place within that structure. Right now, not everyone can fit in the team meeting room when we have a team meeting, right? The individual position rooms are in the same place as the coach's office. So if Tyler Bowen needs to have a private meeting and an offensive lineman wants to watch film, somebody has to leave. A new office complex, a new weight room would be part of new construction. The rest would be really a total renovation of that building. The location's great, and we don't want to lose that opportunity of that location, but new construction will be part of it, but then a total renovation. Timeline, we've raised some money on it, but that's why we need some public visibility. We need to get it out in the public. We need to let people know, and then we can, once we have that, we can really map out a time. It's not a short turnaround time. You have to design it. You have to go out to bid. You've got all the approvals. So we're probably still, 18 months or so from breaking ground, but we've got to get the process activated to get the approval started, so then we can really put the design, in place to have the right building.
Since the early 2000s, Bob, you've spent a lot of time at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center over there. And I know you've talked before about there being a need for some upgrades there. Are these upgrades he's talking about, are these the ones that you look at as most critical?
Yeah, this is the stuff. They've been working on this for a while, and this is something that they started sketching out, early, the last 5-6 years, and different iterations of what they do, how they do it. And the reality is the Woody Hayes Athletic Center is great. It's been around, though, for 45 years, and it's tough to continue. They've expanded the footprint. The problem was when they did the last expansion in 2006, the major one, they didn't probably do enough and did it at a level that they can't really add on and do things just structurally. And because I had conversations like, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? Like, well, things really weren't where they are now in college athletics. And so the separate meeting rooms and the coaches' rooms, like the coaches' offices used to be where the players would meet for their position groups. Well, to the point now, like they've tried to do that with some of the offices and given the coaches like converted closets into like an office area so players can watch film and they'd be in there. But like I've been in Laurinaitis, it is crazy tiny. I mean, it's essentially a closet. And then they've got like the meeting room. So they're going to be in this for the next couple of years, and that's going to be good. But the thing is, like, you're trying to pay for players, and you've got that element there. And then you also have to try to raise money for facilities. And it's just, there's a lot going on. And so I was curious, Ross doing this, trying to garner some momentum around it publicly to get people to support it, because a lot of the other facilities, it's crazy to say, I mean, they are ahead of Ohio State. They've done as much as they can renovating that building, but there's like even, I've got the plumbing and HVAC stuff, so I know enough to be dangerous with that. But there's just some mechanical issues that are going to be impossible to overcome at any type of a cost-efficient manner and without completely just destroying the building. And so then you start asking yourself, okay, well, maybe we need to build like an expansion to this and reconfigure some of the stuff of how it's sitting, because they've done almost as much as they can to this building now. And then they'll have a lot of other space that they'll be able to then repurpose for some of the other sports and some other things.
So, Bob, with one of the other things that Ross talked about was the potential, the naming rights of the stadium. And I know that Ross has treaded very carefully on this, because when he first got here, he mentioned this in the press conference as well. He's like, well, I said nothing's off the table, but, he said he got kind of roasted for that. Not like Michael Scott roasted, but like a different kind of roasted for that comment. And it doesn't sound like it is in the plans to do that. Do you think in the next 10 years, Ohio Stadium will be named after a sponsor?
I think they'll probably have some naming rights associated with it. I would venture a guess, yes.
Like Ohio Stadium presented by?
I don't know how, something like that. I'm not sure exactly how that'll look and how that'll work. But just given the need for, financial infusion all the time, and that's one of the most valuable assets. They're working on jersey patches. I think Ross had thrown that out there as well. And, the number that they were talking about being able to garner for that is, I was blown away at how significant it was. And it's like, well, do you do jersey patches for the same sponsor for both practice and games? Do you separate those out? Because people talk about the value of the game, and that's big. But then you get a lot of footage from practice too, and watching guys out there and guys doing interviews and stuff with their shoulder pads on after practice. So like you have some of that. So there's there's a lot of different things. I know people don't like it, but then you know what else people don't like? They also don't like paying more for season tickets and paying more for other things. And you know what else they don't like? Not winning. So if you want all of those things, you can either A, pay more to sit in them, sit in the seats and more for the stuff that you're seeing, B, not be as good, or C, have some branding around some of the more notable things, and hopefully it's done in a very tasteful and respectful way, which I have a lot of faith in Ross that he'll be able to do that.
Here's one more from Ross. He says Ohio State will be the first to operate with a $500 million budget. Let's hear Ross.
There really is no ceiling for our program from a engagement, enterprise, value, revenue, all of those things. So that's what we're really going to focus on is take vision, turn it into action, and really focus on we have to make sure we're nationally competitive, right? We have to make sure there's some financial sustainable model. We will be the first program that has a $500 million annual operating budget. It's going to happen. It could happen 3 years from now. It could happen 2 years from now, 5 years from now. But we will have a $500 million athletic budget at some point in time very soon. We have that capability, right? So taking the scale of this public trust of the state of Ohio and really taking it to the next level. And then we have to make sure we support student-athlete, academic, and leadership experience. And then we have to have that institutional alignment that I've talked about.
Jay Rami says in the chat, Bob, about the jersey patches, whatever, the WNBA, it looks terrible. I think that if you look at
that's fine. If you're willing to pay more for your season tickets or you're willing to write a check, then that's okay. We can talk about how it looks terrible. I'm not saying that they look great. I don't think Ross would prefer to have jersey patches. But if you can find another way to generate, multi-millions of dollars a year. And when I heard the number, I was like, you're kidding me. He said, we've got like three or four different groups that are working through this. I'm like, that is wild. And we can complain about it, or you can either go 8-4, or you can pay more. Like those are literally the options. And you can hate me for saying that, but I haven't figured out, or we could figure out a way to like conjure money or get into some sort of alchemy where we can turn like rocks into gold. Those are other options. I don't have as much knowledge in those though.
That last one seems like a viable option though, Bob. But the fact that it's fortunate, unfortunate, everyone say it's the way of the world. It's the way it's going to be in college sports now. It's always been that way in other sports as well. Usually money wins. Usually money does win. And if it doesn't win, at least you can say, well, at least we tried with money. And I'm with you, Bob. Look, I don't want patches, but I also, if it makes my season tickets a little bit cheaper, I'm okay with it then. I'll get past it.
Well, if it's going to make them cheaper, it's just going to not make them rise as quickly.
There we go.
So you
That's
at least are paying what you're paying right now.
Yeah. As long as they don't change the Buckeye leaves to like Geico patches. They'll do something like that, or have a Wendy face on there, make that the Buckeye leaf. I don't want that, Bob. No offense to Wendy's or Geico. I don't know what they do at the station here, so I could be getting called into Fish's office after this, but I don't want to see that, though, on the helmets.
Yeah, listen, everybody complained about the safe flight stuff on the field. Do you even notice that anymore, Jeff? Like, does it bother you?
Not as much. No, it really doesn't. No, it's more. You're right, Bob. It really doesn't. It doesn't bother me nearly as much. I remember the first when they had the bowl patch. Like, wait, that looks a little different on this. But whatever. It doesn't bother me much. You know what, Bob? I'm still going to be out there on Saturdays at the shoe. I'm still going to be watching the road games, and I'm still going to be doing all of this. So it's not going to affect my life if they put even if they put 2 patches on the jersey. It's not going to affect my life.
Like I said, and I'm not a proponent of this. I don't think Ross really wants to do it. But you start looking around, he said, we're going to be the first program to have a $500 million budget. Right now, I think last year or 2 years ago, because it's always trailing, they're like $256 million. Like that's essentially doubling that. Yeah. And that's going to come from these other things. Like if you're going to be spending that much, you have to be generating that. And Ross, that's what he was brought in here for. He always jokes. He's like, money's the answer. Now, what's the question? Because a lot of things can be solved, with financial infusion. You just have to be able to find that.
And I promise you, Bob, and I'll tell the listeners this, Ross is not cutting me any checks. He's not paying me personally, but I do feel like Ross has done one hell of a job since he got here.
What did people complain? Well, we need a better scoreboard. Okay, well, we're doing that. We need a better field. Okay, well, they're doing that. All that stuff was in the works. But you know what else that costs is money.
Yeah.
Like, so they had that stuff in the works. They just put together the trestle thing. People are like, why wasn't that done before? I'm like, well, I don't know. Gene Smith was here for 20 years, and I'm not bashing on him, but, like, he didn't do it. You know? I mean, Ross has been here for a couple of years. It's like, well, he brought that up to me, and we were talking. I was like, I don't know. I don't know why he wouldn't be deserving. You know, if one day you want to put Urban up there as well, like coaches that have won national championships, that sounds like a great deal. But, I mean, there's some low-hanging fruit. Like, these are all wins. So you announce the stuff that people like, and then there's stuff that, well, maybe people don't necessarily love this as much. And I understand, but it also facilitates and supports everything else. You're talking about a $125 million facility you've got to build.
Bob, I've often said that I've often wondered out loud if Ryan Day knew that being a head coach in college football would be this 15 years ago, would he still want to do it? And now I'm thinking about Ross Bjork's job. What has changed more? What has been more of a shift? The role of the head coach for Ohio State or the role of AD for Ohio State?
Well, the AD's always had to generate money and like raise funds. Just now that's the main job. The problem is the head coach never really had to do any of that. Now they have to do a lot of it. So I would say the head coach has changed more because the portal and everything else that comes into it, the financial element that was never there, like there is a lot more there than there ever was.
All right, folks, so next we will do some quick hitters, Morning Juice.
I'm Meredith Garfalo, meteorologist at 10 TV News This Morning, and I'm an Ohio girl. I love golf, aerospace, and all things Ohio sports. For nearly 20 years, I've studied the patterns that shape our days, from winter wonders on the south side to dangerous storms along the I-71 corridor. When the weather changes, you'll be the first to know, because you need a forecast that moves as fast as you do. Make the move to 10 TV News This Morning, weekdays from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
Do you need a bank that truly values local business in this town and the opportunity to work right alongside them as partners? Whether you're a small business or a large operation, Riverside Bank of Dublin has the right tools for the job. Riverside Bank of Dublin has the experience of working right here in Central Ohio. They understand the business climate in our area, and they're going to help you reach your goals. So whether you need an SBA loan to get your business off the ground, a line of credit to keep your business running smoothly, or equipment financing to get your business up to scale, Riverside Bank will tailor a solution that fits your needs. Visit them at riverside.bank or stop in to get to know them in person at 6300 France Road. Riverside Bank of Dublin, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
When you think of brands that are customer focused, one thing they all have in common is that their values and commitment to quality have been passed from one generation to the next. With 3 generations in the roofing industry, our family has built a reputation on honesty, transparency, and consistency. Our commitment to the customer will show through all of our team members as they make sure that every customer is completely satisfied. When it comes to your roofing needs, work with a company built around family. Call Newman Roofing today.
Delaware County Veteran Services is a county office that faithfully assists veterans of Delaware County. Although not the Department of Veterans Affairs, we help veterans and their dependents navigate through the process of applying for benefits administered by the VA, and we provide transportation to VA medical facilities. So if you're a military veteran or a spouse of a veteran, schedule your appointment today. A wide range of VA and local benefits may be available to you. Delaware County Veteran Services, conveniently located in the historic courthouse in Delaware.
In a world of one-click shopping and instant delivery, shouldn't your broken AC get the same speedy service? At the Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling, easy breezy cooling solutions hit your doorstep in an instant. It's the best kind of delivery, from first click to final fix. We deliver results in record time every time. Schedule your visit online. The Waterworks and Header, together to serve you better.
At QC Kinetics Columbus, patients find lasting joint pain relief. Regenerative treatments help repair damaged tissue. No surgery, downtime, or steroids.
Knee pain's something I lived with since the big game, and I'm all over surgeries. That's how I found QC Kinetics. I was able to get in, see the doctors, do the treatment, and get my knee feeling basically brand new. I can work out, run, most importantly, chase my son around the house and the yard, and do my job without any pain.
Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. Better starts here.
Attack and dominate. You're locked into Morning Juice.
Sponsored by Riverside Bank of Dublin.
Here's Bobby and Tito.
Morning Juice. It's Bobby. It's Bodie. It's me. I'm Tito. Bodie, take the wheel.
Morning Juice presents Quick Hitters.
All right, fellas, happy Friday. Best day of the work week. We'll start here with some college football. Fresh off of the 5-for-5 rule going into effect, the Division I Football Oversight Committee has more rule changes in mind for the sport. They are proposing changes to the offseason and preseason practice schedules and a shorter transfer portal window. First up, the proposal would allow for 2 out-of-season practice sessions for a total of 21 practices. Currently, college teams can hold 15 practices during the spring. And along with that, the proposal calls for reducing preseason practices from 25 down to 21, which could be recorded during a 27-day span. And then as far as the transfer portal goes, the committee has proposed reducing the number of days from 15 down to 10, and the portal would open on the first business day following January 1st of each year. These proposals will be voted on in August and could go into effect, if approved, for the 2027 season. Bobby, what do you think of these two, I guess, like sort of 3 rule changes? You got the 2 within the practice windows and then kind of the third one there with the portal shrinking.
Good idea for the portal to shrink. They still need the portal to be after the last game of the season. Like, you can't be having the portal during the playoff. Like, January 1st, that's like the second round. In between their second, third round is you're going to be having that open. I like the expanding of practices in the spring, and you can make that a little bit longer. So now those coaches like, hey, we're going to be able to integrate our team a little bit quicker in the spring, take a little bit off the fall, and maybe you're taking some off the fall because if you move the start of the season back a week, well, then you don't want to be obviously having those guys practice too much and be starting in July, for heaven's sake. So I like the plan of this. It seems like they're beginning to piece this thing together pretty well. They've got the 5-for-5 and some of the different things. And I wish that this was what was in the congressional bill and not all the other nonsense that they're throwing in there, about people trying to be punitive and in this league and that league and who's wanting to do whatever. So I like this. I didn't necessarily love the stuff that made in the Protect College Sports Act at the end, but this is the way to go. This is the stuff that they need to start getting done.
The portal thing is what bothers me, Bob. Like the fact that I can't for the life of me understand why no one else at that level sees this. Like having the portal open. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, let me ask you this, Thitoff. Yeah. How many teams will that impact on a yearly basis?
It won't impact many. It maybe 4 to 8, but you know what? It'll impact one big one. I promise you that. Every year it'll impact one big one. And that's why it bothers me.
If you're at NC State, are you really worried? Like, hey, if we have to worry about players leaving and getting players we're in the second round of the playoff, well, that's champagne problems. But that's the issue is when college football is most visible and you're getting your very best teams and the product should be at its apex, people are talking about this nonsense. And so that's why that needs to be moved back to like January, 10th. And then they need to move the season forward and get everything done by that second week in January. And then it starts to work. And then things start to make sense.
Yeah, I look at it, I'm like, God, this is just common sense, Bob. And I know you dive deeper into than I do as far as the research on this kind of stuff. But like I think this just, how can you possibly have the portal open up on January 2nd when there's still other teams playing? It makes no sense whatsoever.
I think they should do the portal after the spring ball.
Yeah.
You get all your players in. You do like the NFL. You sign your high school guys. Then you have the spring portal, and that way people make it through the spring. And you know what? You have less time, but maybe then you do more stuff in the spring. In the summer, you can open that up, and it can work that way. That would be how I think a majority of the coaches would want it. They all say they want guys there earlier. But in reality, because it's tougher to build these teams, but in reality, it'd probably be more efficient to have it done the other way.
Next up here, guys, the best part of any draft coming to a close is the day after said draft has concluded, because that's when we get mock drafts for the following year. And with the 2026 NBA draft in the books, it's time to look ahead to next June's event. And in the Athletics' way too early mock for 2027, they have Ohio State's Anthony Thompson going 8th overall. Sam Vecini of The Athletic writes, Thompson is a fascinating player who will be extremely interesting to watch at Ohio State this season. He has the dimensions that NBA teams are looking for at 6'7" or so without shoes, and wingspan around 7'3". He's also a shooter, having averaged over 20 points per game while shooting nearly 40% from three and 88% from the line last year on the Adidas circuit. However, Thompson is not all that physical yet, and he needs to become more adept at playing with the ball in his hands and driving to the rim. I haven't seen a ton of high-level passing reads yet, and while he can be a terrific playmaker on defense, his motor doesn't always seem to rev to its highest potential. Thompson has the tools to challenge for a top 3 slot in this draft class. It is up to him to make that a reality. Tito, one and dones are weird because it's a bummer to see a guy leave that quickly, but this would obviously be very good news for Ohio State next season if he is we'll just say top half of the lottery draft pick.
Yeah, you look at it. This is the part that I struggle with, Bode, is because, he's a great player. It looks like, he appears to be a great player. The fact he's a 5-star, he and LJ Smith both in that one as well. But he's also going to be, look, if he plays it potentially one and done, which kind of sucks. I like the players here more than 1 year, but that's the trade-off of this, is that if you're going to get players like that, you've got to accept the fact that if they do play to their potential, they're going to be gone. And so I'm excited about it. I've seen him 8, I've seen him 9, I've seen him lower than that too as well. But yeah, if Anthony Thompson plays up to that level, that should be good for Ohio State. And if you look, by the way, I saw a mock draft on ESPN, and it's amazing how many players in the top 20 were ones that Thompson, one of them, but also then Ohio State opponents here, a kid from BYU, a couple of kids from Kansas. There's all this stuff, Michigan in there. There's all these different players in that Ohio State's going to face off with this year, which tells me it should be a great year for Ohio State as far as interesting and watching them. And Thompson, boy, if he's the real deal, this team right now could be a second weekend team.
Well, and that was part of the calculus in reclassifying LJ Smith, because you compare him and Thompson together. And then you start looking at some of the other assets on this team, with Mobley, with Bynum, you're thinking, okay, we've got some stuff going here now. And they've got a ton of momentum. And that's why it was critical, I think, LJ Smith reclassifying, because you could get these guys together. Maybe they both leave together, which would suck. It would suck. It would not be good. I would not enjoy that. But if you have two guys that could be potentially lottery picks as freshmen playing together, the only way you wouldn't be good is if you were Rutgers.
That's true, Bob. That's a good point. That couple of top 6
like
picks
that,
there.
Look at Basketball Bob.
Basketball Bob. I'm telling you, put him in Philly. Now he's over there at Palestra and all that. He is right there in the heart of college basketball.
To be fair, Bob, at least on the Rutgers point, it's not like Dylan Harper wasn't, absolutely incredible in the playoffs this past spring and summer here for San Antonio.
Don't do that. We'd love to have him on the Celtics, Bodie.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Okay?
To be clear, I'm being extremely sarcastic. I don't know how Rutgers wasn't at least just, 20 wins and into the March Madness there. We'll stay on the hardwood here, guys. A rather significant trade broke in the NBA early yesterday morning as the Charlotte Hornets sent LaMelo Ball and Josh Green to the Minnesota Timberwolves in exchange for Naz Reid and several first-round draft picks. Among the haul of picks heading back to Charlotte includes a 2033 unprotected first, and then pick swaps in 2028, 2029, and 2030. A rather polarizing player. Ball, he's never lacked the talent, but I think it's fair to question how much of a winning player he is. But he is coming off a season in which he helped guide the Hornets to the play-in tournament, by far their best year in several years. And then on the flip side, Timberwolves general manager, or president of basketball ops, Tim Conley, he's never been shy about going big game hunting. They of course made the trade for Rudy Gobert a handful of years ago when he was the GM back in Denver. They went out and got Aaron Gordon, which paid off in a big way for their title run. A couple years ago, they traded Karl Anthony Towns for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. And they have also kind of been in the, we'll say, rumor mill for the last couple years for even Jaylen Brown this summer, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo before he went down there to Miami. But nevertheless, Ball and Anthony Edwards, a very talented backcourt in the Twin Cities. We'll see if it pays off for him. It's definitely a high-risk, high-reward type of move here.
Yeah, it's very interesting that they would do that, trying to pair those guys together. And you mentioned Ball was good last year. He hasn't really won a ton, but it's interesting because of just all the hype that the Ball brothers had coming out. And he's actually turned into a pretty good NBA player with that. But we'll see if teams are getting a little bit desperate of what they can do. And, I mean, he was a guy, an asset that you come in there. The question is always, Bodie, when you try to pair this stuff together, I think people always have this vision of how it looks, and rarely does it ever work out, I think, the way that they had hoped.
Lonzo Ball played 72 games last season. The previous 3 years... LaMelo, sorry. Lonzo's different. LaMelo Ball played 72. Before that, it was 47, 22, and 36, the number of games played. And we know that being available is a incredibly important attribute when you look at this. And, yeah, Ball was great last year. They gave up a lot in that. I don't know if it's the best move for Minnesota, but it was surprising to me just because Charlotte had that kind of like that run at the end of the season, and then they were kind of like darlings early on. Like it's like, oh, this team came from where they were at to where they were to get into the playing game and all of that. It was like, oh, this team actually is fun to watch, and then they make this move. So kudos to the GM for deciding, hey, we're gonna shake things up a little bit, and it's gonna be Con Knippel's team now going forward. But I think it's probably a smart move overall for Charlotte. You trade a guy in his who's played 6 years, going to his 7th year, and try to get younger, get some extra draft picks. I think it's smart.
Last one here, guys. If you needed an excuse to watch more or, frankly, any Mountain West college football games this fall, boy, do I have good news for you. Because the Front Office Sports reported earlier this week that Brian Kelly is set to call games for the conference this upcoming fall. He'll be part of a 3-man booth calling games for the newly designed Mountain West Conference. If you are not up to date on the teams in that conference, I do not blame you one bit. I had to write them all down just to make sure I remembered. So we got Air Force, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, North Dakota State, Northern Illinois. Who could forget about them as they have left the MAC to join that conference there starting this fall. And then San Jose State, UNLV, UTEP, and Wyoming. So, Tito, I know I'll be tuned in. The article didn't state who else will be a part of that 3-man booth, but it could be a 1-man booth. I can't wait.
I cannot tell you, buddy, how excited I am.
I think he'll be good. If he, genuinely, which Brian Kelly, the word genuine is always a little maybe hit or miss, but, anything I've ever heard about him is when you get him in just a good kind of conversation, and he's not being maybe we'll call it slight a-hole version of Brian Kelly. He knows his stuff, obviously. He's a good coach. He's not an idiot. Don't be an idiot. It could change your life. But it'll be interesting to see how he does in the broadcast.
That was a great drop by Bodie there. Bobby, is it possible to be a slight a-hole? Can you be are you an a-hole? No matter if you're an a-hole.
And actually, with Brian Kelly, I don't even know if it's slight. I think it's pretty.
It's not slight. It's just situational. It's situational. He zips it up and hides it when he's out in public a lot of the time, and then it private and no one can see it. Or then it sometimes rears its head on the sideline because he doesn't.
Or Tommy Reese throws an interception, and you question whether or not the young man's going to be alive when he makes it back to the sidelines.
So great the intensity that he would come at him with. It's like you said, Bodie, it'll be fun to see him. I wish there was a way that he was going to somehow be on a call for a Notre Dame game. That would be.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Bodie's head would explode. But
listen, I've dealt with Drew Brees and who else? Pat Hayden was in there.
The Collinsworth kid.
Well, he was the play-by-play, and he was not particularly skilled in that endeavor there. So
was that Jack without the K?
That was Jack without the K.
That's not trustworthy.
I don't think it could get any worse. He'd have some good insight into the program. So.
I just, I will probably end up listening to Brian Kelly more than I want to this year, simply because I'll be chasing gambling losses with Hawaii games at a midnight kick here on the East Coast. But Bob, my goal now in life is when people say, "Hey, Tito." Yeah, he's a slight a-hole. If I'm just a slight a-hole, Bob, I think that right there, I think I'm doing okay.
There you go. I'm glad you set your aspirations high, Thitoff.
There we are. Coming up next, Jackets made some moves yesterday. NHL draft is tonight. We'll talk to the guru. Aaron Portzline joins us next. Morning Juice.
I'm Yolanda Harris. I'm a journalist at 10 TV News. I grew up here, and after 25 years of telling this community's stories, this place still means so much to me. When I'm not in the newsroom, I'm usually out supporting the same people and causes I care deeply about. I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. What happens here affects us all. And that's why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it doesn't sit still. It moves. It moves you to act, to verify, to volunteer, to speak up, or lend a hand. It moves your mind by challenging assumptions and offering new perspectives. It moves you forward by giving you the information to make decisions and thrive where you live. And yes, it moves your heart through the kind of human storytelling that stays with you wherever you are. And at 10 TV, we're here for all of it. These are the stories that move Central Ohio.
Delaware County Veterans Services is ready to help you access VA benefits, emergency financial assistance, dental and medical grants, transportation, and more. Give Delaware County Veterans Services a call, 740-833-2010 to schedule an appointment.
At QC Kinetics Columbus, patients find lasting joint pain relief.
Hi, I'm Bobby Carpenter.
And I'm Jake Ballard.
And we are both QC Kinetics believers. We are both pain-free in the knees.
Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation.
We have a desire and passion for great customer service. Every detail is important to us. From your first phone call to the end of the project, Newman is here to help you every step of the way. We're here to educate you so you understand what's happening with your roof. We're in your corner to help you be confident in your decision. After all, when your name is on it, it just means more. We are Newman.
In the old days when people lived to be 40, you only had one option for listening to your favorite show. But now, ooh, baby, radio, podcast, the Fan app, and YouTube, ooh, just to name a few, live or on demand. You have no excuses. The Fan.
Since 1969, Germain Toyota of Columbus has been delivering an exceptional experience to Central Ohio drivers. Whether it's versatile SUVs, stylish trucks, or efficient hybrids, Germain Toyota has a great selection of new and pre-owned vehicles at customer-friendly rates, backed by 2 years of maintenance with Toyota Care and same-day service from our trusted team of technicians. Experience the difference with every drive at Germain Toyota of Columbus.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite Fan shows? Oh no. Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now. Bobby is known as the General. Tito shops at Dollar General. This is Morning Juice.
All right, Morning Juice. We now head out to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Aaron Portzline joins us. He's covered the Blue Jackets since day zero. Draft is tonight for the Jackets. First, let's talk about this, though, Porty. The Jackets acquired Valerie Nikushkin from Colorado. Is that they have 3 draft picks in the deal?
Yep.
Is that the biggest deal the Jackets will make this offseason?
I don't think so. It may be. It may be the top forward that they add, but I still think there's a lot of time and a lot of action out there. Nikushkin's a hell of a player. Helps them immensely. I don't think a lot of people knew that he was even available via the Avs. So a good get there. Not a name that had been bandied about. A surprise on both ends. But I still think Don Waddell's being extremely active, trying a bunch of things to move this thing forward.
How much of this is just the team, it looks like they're ready to move forward, but also some potential players here that are very talented that may or may not have won the Norris Trophy and wanting them to put their best foot forward of we're trying to win here in Columbus?
Honestly, Bobby, I don't think these moves or these attempted moves, they've only done a couple of things yet. I don't think it's a response to any threat from Werenski. I don't get that sense anyways. I feel like this is where they were anyways. This is kind of where they were last year. If you remember, they went hard after Noah Dobson, the defenseman, who ended up going to Montreal from the Islanders. And then they ended up having to circle back and signing their own Provorov so they wouldn't be exposed to not having enough top 4 defensemen. So the push has been on. I still think it's going to be hard for them. I mean, there's only so much you can do if the other team isn't willing to say yes. They're not loaded with high-end picks. They have their own first, but that's not exactly a mover this year. They don't have a ton of people in their prospects pool. So it's going to be player off, player on if we're talking significant talent coming in. But I think this urge, this push to get better, I mean, they've improved now 4 years straight. The push to get up and over, of course, I think is throughout the organization. Werenski definitely puts some heat on this and maybe gets them considering some things as this summer moves on. If they don't get done here the next few days, they may have to consider things they would not have considered previously. But I don't get the sense that Nikushkin is here because Werenski's putting some heat on them to improve the roster. I think it would have happened anyways.
Aaron Portzline from Athletic joins us here talking Columbus Blue Jackets. And do you write your headlines for your Athletic stories or not?
I will send a story in with a headline. And I'm a writer. I'm not a search engine optimization guy. So they quite often get rewritten with a different approach to it. But usually they stick. But I do write them, but they don't always stick. Why? What did I screw up there?
No, you did screw. No. This is a copy editor comment here. No. I would tell you that privately. I wouldn't do it publicly. But it just said Don Waddell won't say, but uncertainty surrounds Zach Werenski's future with the Blue Jackets. I know. When I saw that headline, it gave me a bit of a panic moment for a minute. You wrote that one, okay? On a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned should Jackets be about losing Werenski? About Werenski not playing his entire career, at least the next 5 years, with the Jackets? With 10 being, I really don't think he'll be here 5 years from now. 1 being, shut up, he's going to be here.
I would say 8 or 9.
Wow.
Yeah. There's smoke there. He hasn't said anything, or so that I don't feel comfortable making that a 10. He hasn't said anything. His agent hasn't said anything publicly. Listen, teams are calling the Blue Jackets asking about Zach Werenski. All right. There are several teams in this league who feel like Zach Werenski is going to be moved, if not this year, before his contract in Columbus is up. Has he asked for a trade? I've been told no. Has he made it clear to them that he's not going to extend his contract when his contract is up? I can't get a straight answer to that. I asked point blank yesterday, Don Waddell. He said there are some matters here that we should keep internally. Now, if I'm Don Waddell and he has not made it clear, I would be shouting that from the mountaintops, I think. So, but we don't have the 2 and the 2 to equal 4 just yet. We've got some really strong suggestions, and clearly something is up. Don Waddell and Zach Werenski have already met once this summer. They're meeting again after the draft. They like each other, but they're not getting together to share a great breakfast and talk as pals. There's something going on that Don Waddell needs clarity about. And I think you'd have to be naive to pay attention to this league even a little bit and see what's happening with these young players, all of them who competed on Team USA, I'll note, who are manipulating their way one way or the other to different teams, to their preferred teams. Now, again, Werenski's not said what Dylan Larkin has said, I want to be traded. He has not done what Brady Tkachuk has done, work his way out of Ottawa. We're not there yet, but you'd have to be naive to not see a comparison and a continuum along those lines.
So I was under the impression, I thought this would maybe be a situation for next year, Porter. But you brought it up that could be something that happens this summer and he could be moved. With that, is there anything the Jackets can do to help steady that ship, or do you think that this is something where there's some stuff in motion and he's seen enough, I guess, from this organization?
Yeah, it's a great question, and until Zach clarifies that. Like, listen, he has a complete no-move clause. He may not want to be traded right now. He just had a kid. Life's pretty good. He's into his summer. This may be something that he doesn't want right now, but if you're the Blue Jackets and a player makes it clear that they're not going to extend, they've been through this before where they kind of hoped several years ago, if you remember, that maybe Panarin, maybe Bobrovsky would come around if we have a playoff run and everything's great. Didn't happen that way. When is there going to be a higher point to move Zach Werenski if you know that you're going to eventually have to trade him? The Norris Trophy winner, that's a hell of a thing to put first line on the resume, right? Has he ever played better than he is now? So there's all of these things to consider. If they were super, super motivated to move him now, I know what Don Waddell said yesterday, I still believe that they would have that meeting. I would have had it already. There's no way you're waiting until after the draft where players are going to be moving this weekend. Picks are going to be moving this weekend. And Don Waddell's answer to that is we're not moving Werenski for picks, and we're not moving him for the sort of extra players teams are willing to move right now that are available. If Werenski hits the market, it's going to be for a huge return for players you're not hearing about, for players that teams right now can't imagine they would be willing to trade. But if it's Werenski coming back, then it would make sense. So a lot of different ways to look at this right now. I don't think a trade is imminent. I don't get that sense. And it may not happen this year. But I think you also have to worry about it being a pretty messy year in Columbus if all of this is known and he stays here and continues to play in that sweater.
So one of the things that I'm hearing from you here, Porty, like it doesn't sound like this is going to be a complete reset. If they did trade him, they would be trying to continue to keep this train moving along and not be looking 5 years into the future in this constant rebuild.
Yeah.
And I go with that as well. I mean, we've been through this before, and I think it's getting frustrating for Columbus fans to see guys who are drafted here or acquired early in their career, they're developed, and then at some point they get tired of probably not having the success on ice. And, there's been a number of guys that have moved back. People like it here. Maybe outside of the Russians, I think a lot of players, American and Canadian players, enjoy living in Columbus. Yeah. And so is this an organizational thing? Will there ever be a day where you get a guy that's going into the prime of his career or in the prime that says, this is the place that I want to be?
Yeah. I mean, this is a hard thing to say because, and I think we always look at the Gaudreau tragedy through the eyes of the person and the humanity in that tragedy. It is, if you make this a hockey consideration, which again is hard to do, you have to consider that the Blue Jackets' best player is no longer with them and was taken away from them immediately, and is a player who chose to be here late in his career. That absence, that taking that Hart Trophy type candidate out of your lineup in a place like Columbus, that doesn't take 2 years to replace. It could take years to replace. That is a hole that there's still psychologically, but also hockey-wise, getting past. And it's easy. It's in my nature to forget that because you don't want to think of it as a hockey situation. You want to think of it as a personal human situation, that tragic loss. So there's that. Listen, as a reporter, I don't see this franchise as a 26-year struggle. I'm able to see it in segments, and I'm able to realize that 4 years ago they said, we're going to rebuild this thing. And what happens when you rebuild is GMs get fired, coaches get fired, veteran players get fed up, and they move along. It's messy. It's hard to do. It's very easy to decide to do it. It's hard to execute. In those 4 years since the Blue Jackets intentionally bottomed out, moved their veterans out for the first-round picks, they have gotten incrementally better all 4 years. It isn't good enough. It hasn't been fast enough. But that's where this is. This isn't from 2001 to now, in my mind. It's from 2021 until now, or 22 until now. And so I still see a process there with the young players, Fantilli developing, Johnson developing. But it's tough to keep the veteran players still engaged after 6 years of not making the playoffs. We're seeing it in Detroit. Detroit thinks they're building towards something. Dylan Larkin says, get me out of here. Ottawa thinks that they got a really good team here with some young players. Brady Tkachuk, their best player, forward anyways, says, you know what, I got to go, guys. I'm done with this. I'm going somewhere else. This is going on in different places. It doesn't absolve the Blue Jackets or what's happening in Columbus, but these are the challenges of planning a 4 and 5 year ramp up to being back to the competitive team you think you can be again.
Aaron Portzline joins us from The Athletic here. He covers the Blue Jackets. Porty, you got a question from Hall of Fame chatter Brian, and he wants to know, will the Jackets add a goalie in the offseason? I mean, I know you mentioned that Merzlikins, it's last year's contract. The Jackets they've indicated they're not going to buy him out. I'm sure they'd like to trade him at some point. But do you think that Merzlikins is part of a 2-goalie tandem next year for Columbus, or will there be a different goalie in there?
Well, I just can't imagine he's going to be, and yet as time passes, we get closer to that. It certainly seems to be a possibility now. And I find this to be a failing, frankly, if it does come to pass that it's Greaves and Merzlikins, because you're talking culture change in Columbus. I think that's a spot. to make that happen, to certainly further that. I still think there's a chance that Elvis Merzlikins gets traded. I think it's possible now. I don't think it was before with his contract, his term. But to me, that's an area of this team that you could really, really improve. Jet Greaves is the number one. They're not adding a goalie, but they could swap out a goalie if they're able to move Elvis Merzlikins. And the one move that I think is ripe there for them, I don't know what the market is for free agent Stuart Skinner, solid 1A goalie. I would love to have another goalie in Columbus. Stuart Skinner makes sense to me, that comes in as Greaves' backup, and you trade Elvis for what you can get for Elvis, just to change that end of the room. To me, that's really important for them to do. But now that the buyout window is here and they're not buying him out, that's one way of making that change that is apparently is not going to occur. So we look for a trade. That seems like it would be difficult, but more possible than ever now. So we'll see. If I'm betting, I'm saying there's a different goalie there, but I'm not quite sure the machinations of how that might take place now.
All right, Porty, it's June 26th. Come mid-October, when they start reporting and everything gets going, what is the most important piece of work for this Jackets front office to get done?
Well, they need another defenseman. I believe Goodbranson's moving along. I'd welcome another forward here. I'd welcome a trade to move out forward, bring in a new forward. I think you've got Rick Bowness is changing the culture here, as he says. I think you change the roster a bit too to really make that happen. They may have a new captain too. It looks like Boone Jenner's going to hit free agency. That's not a small thing. I think the biggest thing for them, and this is maybe the least sexy thing, but the area where the most improvement can be, is they've got to get Kent Johnson back on track. Dmitry Voronkov is not in Russia this summer. He's in the States working out. Hopefully there's a new era in his career getting ready to begin, because there's a ton of talent in there. We've seen glimpses of it. Sean Monahan back to health and playing like he did the year before. Like, there are several players on this team that if there's just a reasonable improvement, or if there's just a return to who they think they can be at their average best, this team should be markedly better. But you want competition in the training camp. I think Rick Bowness is going to be, what was the phrase you guys used earlier? He's going to be a pain in the ass at training camp. And he almost has to be now, pushing this thing because of the tenor that he left this team with at the end of the season. So I want to see a new energy here. I want to see angry people. A training camp fight might be nice. It's been a decade since we've seen those. You need those sometimes, right? That's the energy that I think they want when camp breaks in September.
All right, Porty, we appreciate the time. You're the absolute best. Tonight, by the way, just so one knows, I've played fantasy football with Porty in leagues for the last 20-plus years. If I text you during the draft and offer, will you respond tonight?
Yeah. They get the 14th pick. It's not a big deal.
All right. I'm going to text you right on the 14th pick. With
third overall.
That's what I'm going to do then. Porty, appreciate the time. Thanks so much, buddy. You're the best.
What are you looking for? Okay. All right, thanks, guys.
We'll do that off the air. He was Aaron Portzline there from The Athletic. Cover the Jackets since like day one. He's been there. He's also on Bishop and Friends later on today if you want to catch him on that one on the show over there on the FM side. Coming up next, the top 25 college football players of the 1990s, Bob. 2 Buckeyes on the list. We'll do that next. Morning Juice.
Do you need a bank that truly values local business in this town and the opportunity to work right alongside them as partners? Whether you're a small business or a large operation, Riverside Bank of Dublin has the right tools for the job. Riverside Bank of Dublin has the experience of working right here in Central Ohio. They understand the business climate in our area, and they're going to help you reach your goals. So whether you need an SBA loan to get your business off the ground, a line of credit to keep your business running smoothly, or equipment financing to get your business up to scale, Riverside Bank will tailor a solution that fits your needs. Visit them at riverside.bank or stop in to get to know them in person at 6300 France Road. Riverside Bank of Dublin, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
I'm Brianna Albizu, traffic anchor for 10 TV News this morning. Columbus is quickly becoming my home, and this community has welcomed me with open arms. My mission is simple, to help you get to where you're going quickly and safely. Whether it's helping you beat the slowdown on 270 or giving you detours around major construction, we've got you covered. Because when your morning's on the move, so are we. Make the move to 10 TV News this morning, weekdays from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
When you think of brands that are customer-focused, one thing they all have in common is that their values and commitment to quality have been passed from one generation to the next. With 3 generations in the roofing industry, our family has built a reputation on honesty, transparency, and consistency. Our commitment to the customer will show through all of our team members as they make sure that every customer is completely satisfied. When it comes to your roofing needs, work with a company built around family. Call Newman Roofing today.
Since 1969, Germain Toyota of Columbus has been delivering an exceptional experience to Central Ohio drivers. Whether it's versatile SUVs, stylish trucks, or efficient hybrids, Germain Toyota has a great selection of new and pre-owned vehicles at customer-friendly rates, backed by 2 years of maintenance with Toyota Care and same-day service from our trusted team of technicians. Experience the difference with every drive at Germain Toyota of Columbus.
Delaware County Veteran Services is a county office that faithfully assists veterans of Delaware County. Although not the Department of Veterans Affairs, we help veterans and their dependents navigate through the process of applying for benefits administered by the VA, and we provide transportation to VA medical facilities. So if you're a military veteran or a spouse of a veteran, schedule your appointment today. A wide range of VA and local benefits may be available to you. Delaware County Veteran Services, conveniently located in the historic courthouse in Delaware.
At QC Kinetics Columbus, patients find lasting joint pain relief. Regenerative treatments help repair damaged tissue. No surgery, downtime, or steroids.
So after I got done playing football, I still like to work out, go do all of the activities that I love so much. And unfortunately, I started having a little bit of pain in my knee. That's when I went and saw my friends at QC Kinetics. We were able to go in there, get the consultation, get treated, and now my knees, well, they're as good as new.
Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. Better starts here.
Bobby Carpenter, husband, father, Buckeye. Jeff Thitoff, husband, father, idiot. This is Morning Juice.
Do you need a bank that truly values local business in this town? The opportunity to work alongside them as partners, whether you're a small business or a large operation, Riverside Bank of Dublin, they've got you covered with the right tools for the job. Riverside Bank of Dublin has the experience of working right here in Central Ohio. They understand the business climate area. They're going to help you reach your goals. So whether it's an SBA loan to get your business off the ground, a line of credit to keep it running smoothly, or equipment financing to get your business up to scale, Riverside Bank will tailor a solution that fits your needs. Visit them at riverside.bank or stop in to get to know them in person at 6300 France Road, Riverside Bank of Dublin, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
We just had Aaron Portzline on from The Athletic, and I've always said that's the best deal in sports. If you want to consume sports print media from reporters and people that cover the teams, that's the best place to go. The Athletic released their what they believe, this is from Bruce Feldman, who is a longtime college football reporter, well-respected, his top 25 players in college football from the 1990s. And there are 2 Buckeyes on the list. Bob, do you want to venture a guess as to which 2 are on there?
Top Buckeyes from the 1990s.
There was 2 of them in the top 25 all of college football. He listed the top 25, and 2 of them are Buckeyes.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what's the first one?
Eddie George.
Eddie George is on there. That's correct.
Orlando Pace.
Orlando Pace is yellow, and Bob, well done by you. But Orlando Pace ends up being number 2 on the list. Eddie George was number 21, and I had forgotten how big Eddie George was. Only like the standpoint, like I thought in my mind, Bob, before I read the article, I was thinking if you would have asked me how big Eddie George was in college, I would have said, he's like 6'1", 215. And according to this, he's 6'3", 235 when he played there. And I thought he was a little bit smaller than that. Not still big, but a little bit smaller than that. But, God, that season he had was so incredible to watch. And him and Danny Werfel kind of going back and forth, who's going to be the Heisman winner and whatnot. You know, Werfel goes to the championship game and loses that. But that Eddie George season was so special. As you got to know Eddie, I know you were different eras. God, if I say eras, that makes you sound a lot older, a lot younger than him. But you were different eras. But
I am. I'm 10 years younger than he is.
I know, Bob. But I'm saying if I say someone's from a different era, it sounds like it's like Babe Ruth and Barry Bonds are different eras in my mind. And that's why I think of the eras. I'm thinking that it's not that wide. So you guys were still close, though. But as you got to know Eddie, did you see him as a potential successful head coach?
What about the Taylor Swift, the Eras tour? Where does that come into play?
Bob, that's Bodie's era now. Now we're talking about Bodie's generation. But Bob, I do have a blank space, and I'll write your name. But I'm just like, did Eddie George show you attributes so that made you think that this is something you wanted to do and would be successful at?
If you look at his career, like his post-playing career, he's done a lot of stuff. I mean, he worked in the media, did some stuff there. He was on SiriusXM. He did some stuff with Fox.
Did some acting.
Well, exactly. We could get through. I was going to timeline this for you.
I'm sorry, Bob.
Why don't
go
you
ahead.
take it and go ahead?
No, you go
it's
ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I
mean,
just,
it's fine. I know you got excited because you had a nugget to add. So I
didn't have
appreciate
anything. That's all I want to say. That was it.
Like a young kid on Christmas running downstairs. We're just tearing into those presents. But it's interesting, as charismatic as Eddie was, I don't think that he was all that good on at least TV. I think radio he did a good job. And it wasn't that he was bad. It didn't seem like a natural fit for him. And then you mentioned he did the acting, he did the onstage stuff. I believe he came back to Ohio State, and I think he was either teaching a class, I want to say, or maybe got his executive MBA or something here. There was that going on. I talked to him about that. And, then he dives in as the Tennessee State head coach and starts doing that. Well, you talk about the attributes. I mean, Eddie was always a leader, and you could talk to guys who played with him more. And I remember talking to Fick about this, and Vraves and like some of the guys who had played with him who all loved Eddie. I mean, and Eddie, you talk about 6'1", 215. Jeff, if you look at him on TV, he was never 6'1". The dude's my height, incredibly tall running back, and was incredibly big. I mean, he may have been 240. I mean, he was huge. And what was interesting is he was always a guy that was an incredibly hard worker. Coming into that Heisman season, it wasn't like he was somebody that was expected to win it. I think they were leaning in a little bit more to Bobby Hoying being the quarterback. He was just kind of the best guy kind of coming back at running back, and they thought that, okay, and then he started catching fire early in the season. But Eddie, his workout stuff was always legendary at Ohio State. And talking with some of the former coaches and players, like the guys that were there with him, he was unreal. And, I asked, I don't even know how we got to this one time. I was talking to, I forget who it was, one of the guys who had played with him. And, about, Eddie, and then, moving on to Pepe Pearson and what that was like. And he goes, the problem is with Pepe, he goes, he was a good running back. Like maybe wasn't as talented as Eddie, but he goes, he just wasn't Eddie. And Eddie was such a big personality and such a hard worker and such a tremendous leader during the conditioning and during workouts and all that stuff in the summer that it was really paled in comparison with other players. And so when you have attributes like that, being a head coach, everyone always talks about the X's and O's, and that's important, but it's really more being a leader of men, a leader of a program, having a vision, being able to evaluate talent, understanding to get everybody pushing in the right direction. And that's not just players, that's coaches as well. And so I think he always had those attributes, and you could probably see those. That's not stuff that I got to personally witness. And I got into Dallas. I think he left Dallas. He was there 1 year, I want to say, in 2004.
He was there 1 year. I know that, yes.
I think it was 2004. And because he was at our Michigan game in 2005. So I think he was done playing by that point. So I think it was 2004. And Witten told me, he goes, man, Eddie got here. He's like, he was done. He's like, physically, he did not have anything left. He goes, but man, the Parcells would be all over him. He goes, but dude, did he practice and play as hard as he could? He goes, he didn't have a whole lot left in the tank. He had those 400 carry seasons with Tennessee had finally caught up to him. But he was like the person that you wanted to be, and that's what Parcells wanted him there. Obviously he knew what he was getting as a player. He wasn't getting the Eddie George, the potential MVP or the Hall of Famer the year they're going to the Super Bowl, but a 10,000-yard back, he's getting a guy that's on the very back end of that. But he's a culture setter. And when you're trying to change the culture of your team, you need those guys. And you need veteran guys who people respected, who had won, who were going to play, and albeit maybe not as well as they had before, people were going to see them do things the right way. And that was kind of always Eddie and always what he was. And that's so him going to Tennessee State and being able to set that culture is just a function of could he get the right coaches on the staff? And I think he did that. He's going to be able to recruit because he's the Heisman Trophy winner and he's an incredibly charismatic guy and one of the just most awesome human beings that I've ever been around. And you put all that together, and it's like, well, then you have his personality on top of that, and you get what you have out there, which is a tremendous human being.
I've been around him twice, Bob, and each time, and there's certain. I might have in the pic. Yeah, we had a picture. I did my arm around him. Yeah, but he's at the Fan one time. But Bob, he's one of those rare individuals, and again, 2 times. Okay, so but both times I've talked to him, and he's got that skill, that trait, where he makes you feel like you are the most important person at that moment. You know what I mean? Like he has that way of making you feel like he really
he's
wants
actually
to talk
listening to you.
Yes,
yeah.
That right there. Which I don't possess that, Bob, but he has that though, where like you hear him and like he talks to you. It's like he makes the eye contact, and it feels like he really wants to know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, which is not everyone gets that. There's some people in your lives though that have that, and Eddie certainly had that. That right there. I will continue to bang the drum. They should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm not I'll do the Charlton Heston, pull the gun from my cold dead hand, whatever it is. I will do that until I die. But Eddie George, though, Bob, when you mentioned that Witt said that he was spent, right, when he got there, was that something that Witt said early on or like after? Like I'm curious, like as to when you would know. Like, would it be early on in camp? You'd be like, God, this guy. No disrespect, but he's done.
You could tell when he got there in the offseason. He's because Witt was like he's a couple years older than me, but he's like, this is a guy that I grew up watching, and Witt is from Tennessee. So he's like, I watched him with the Titans. I watched him at Ohio State, and he just didn't have. It's not that he didn't look physically good, and he wasn't strong. Like you just lose when you've taken that many hits. You begin to lose your speed and your explosion. And he goes, he just didn't have the pop that he used to have anymore. I mean, he still played hard as hell, and he still looked like he was carved from stone. He just didn't have that pop, that acceleration, that the difference-making ability that he used to have. And Eddie was never like a burner. That's not what made him great. But the pop that he did have, you could see it kind of left him. So that's what he was alluding to. And Jeff, I mean, there's people in this world that when you're talking, they simply are looking at you, waiting for you to be done talking so they can talk. And then there's people that kind of listen. And then you have some people like Eddie or people like Tress who, when they're looking at you, they give you nonverbal cues and affirmations that they're actually paying attention to what you're saying. And they may actually ask a follow-up question on something that you just said because they're actually really listening to what's going on. And that's a skill. It's a trait. And he's a good human being. And so he really does a good job of that. You said Orlando Pace was second on there. Who was number 1?
That's a great question, Bob. And what was it, Frazier?
He was an Ohio boy, Bob, but
Woodson.
He played for north of the border. That would be the Heisman Trophy winner in 97, right? I think Charles Woodson.
Yeah, yes. That's painful right there.
I don't think he's worthy, Bob. I don't think he's worthy. He had a great year. He did. But best player in the 90s? There were some damn good players in the 90s. And they did it for more than 1 year.
He's one of the few people that won a Heisman, a national championship, a Super Bowl, and he was Defensive Player of the Year in the NFL. Like he's pretty good. I mean, who did you think should have won? I mean, you could argue that Peyton Manning should have won it because Peyton, he never won it in his 4 years. People feel like Woodson maybe kind of robbed him, but honestly, his performance in '97 against Ohio State is probably what did it.
No doubt. Woodson was 1, Orlando Pace 2, Tommy Frazier was 3, Ricky Williams 4, and then Randy Moss was 5.
That's a pretty good list. I mean, I can't argue too much about it. Ricky was so good. Yeah. Frazier was so good. And I mean, Randy Moss may have been, he was like Cam Newton at Marshall with what he was doing. He was incredible. So I honestly can't push back too much on that list. I played against the last 2 guys on there. Obviously, Frazier never really had an NFL career. Eddie I missed. In Orlando, I never played against him when he was still maybe he was with the Bears when I played him, I think, at the very end. But just Orlando Pace is maybe the best offensive lineman. He's in the conversation in the history of college football and in the NFL, and a guy that's a Hall of Famer up there. So it's a pretty choice list to be on. Should Woodson be the top? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. But you get some inherent biases, but he was the last defensive player to win it, and so he two-way guy, return guy, did a lot of stuff. I don't know. It's a highly subjective list.
I'm just glad it wasn't Desmond Howard. All right, let's tell people what's got us juiced.
What's got you juiced?
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
All right, Bob, it's a Friday. What you got for us?
Oh, well, I changed hotels again, checked in here in Philadelphia yesterday, so pretty excited to be down here in the city of brotherly love. Drove in downtown, like we're staying probably 30 minutes out, close to the fields. Drove downtown to see my cousin and her husband and her two children, girls yesterday. It was a lot of fun. World Cup is here, and it is slammed. I did not realize it was in Philly. We avoided New York because of that, because we're going to maybe go up there for a day or two. So decided to come here, had dinner with her. It was awesome. Got a chance to hang out. My oldest son had been here when we came to the Army-Navy game a couple years ago. So he got to go. They live in a sweet building, nice rooftop pool. Went up there, hung out a little bit. Got to see some of the great views, some of the great Mexican restaurant. We got to eat at, but the traffic was so bad. We were about 15 miles away, and we drove. You can get there on the highway and driving a lot further, probably about 25 miles. Takes you about half hour-ish to get in. Driving was so bad, we drove on 2-lane roads through like towns the whole way there. And it took about, I'd say, supposed to be 50, probably got around 38 minutes that we got there. But it was wild to do that. But we got to see a lot of the little Pennsylvania suburbs heading on in, which was a lot of fun, and really enjoyed that with my son yesterday. So that has me juiced. And then also just the good people over at OSU Medical and the Rouse Heart Hospital. They're doing a great job for my dad, and just really appreciate, folks, all of the prayers that have been sent our way. We really need it, and we appreciate it, and we know that it's important, and hopefully it's all part of God's plan, and we'll be seeing him getting better here, and hopefully getting out of there here in the next couple of days. What's
all
up?
right? No, go ahead.
I look across the way, and there's like this Cubana place. So I go over there, and I kid you not, staring right in my beak was key lime pies. I'm like, you know what? We're close to the Keys down here. I bet this is pretty good. I check out. I'm like, hey, ma'am, do you by chance have any extra whipped cream? She went back in the fridge. She found it. She lathered that thing up with whipped cream. Let me tell you something. That was one of the best key lime pies I've ever had.
You want some pie with your whipped cream there, Schlegs?
I've never had key lime pie in my life.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's really good. I like it.
Is it a year-round thing or just like special occasion?
You can eat anything year-round.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, is it like, oh, hey, I like margaritas on Cinco de Mayo. Oh, hey, I like, whatever was it?
I think it's year-round.
Is it like anytime? Like you can be in
stuffings,
April?
Thanksgiving? No, I think key lime pie you can eat whenever. I would say. I don't know. I don't really like it personally.
You don't like it?
Yeah, not a fan.
All right.
Carp, do you want to play that Tyler Adams cut here real quick?
Oh, yes. Let's play that too. Sorry, I knew I had that in there. My bad.
I think the best moment for me after that was when Poch had our team talk after the game, and he goes, guys, listening to that made me feel really American. And I was like, that's exactly what I want to hear. The atmosphere of that game was probably the best that I've played in terms of, for sure, the national team, but just in general, the fans singing the national anthem before the game, like that was electric. Obviously, after listening to Country Roads, looking at my family singing, everyone's excited, everyone's smiling, it was incredible.
I love that Country Roads too has somehow become, Bodie, like the the national anthem like reversed, the close for all of our international sports. West Virginia, one of the smallest states in the country, gets beat up, made fun of, and that's the one that we're going to go with. But hey, it's uniquely American. I love it.
As far as sing-along songs go, too, it's I think that one's pretty tough to beat there. Tito, I will be short and sweet here. Friday, best day of the work week. That's what has me
That's all
juiced,
you
sir.
got?
That's all I got for you.
There's nothing really not many things beat singing in unison with a stadium, something like that. Like being with 100,000 people or 80,000 people, whatever, and everyone's singing that's pretty cool. Those are goosebump moments for me. Maybe I've got low standards on that, but they really are. That means a lot to me. What's got me juiced? Daughter's got a swim meet this weekend at Ohio State. Excited about that. And I think that's really about it. Friday, Bodie, yes. That's good. I get to sleep in tomorrow a little bit till about 7:30. Can't wait for that. Coming up next, AJ Hawk will join us. The best way we know how to close out the week. That's next. Morning Juice.
At QC Kinetics Columbus, patients find lasting joint pain relief. Regenerative treatments help repair damaged tissue. No surgery, downtime, or steroids.
Knee pain's something I lived with since the big game, and I'm all over surgeries. That's how I found QC Kinetics. I was able to get in, see the doctors, do the treatment, and get my knee feeling basically brand new. I can work out, run, most importantly, chase my son around the house and the yard, and do my job without any pain.
Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. Better starts here.
I'm Tracy Townsend, anchor at 10 TV News This Morning. This community is my home, and it means everything to me. I care deeply about the stories we bring you each day, especially the ones that truly impact your life, from women's health and advocacy to the decisions happening at the State House. My goal is simple: help you feel informed and connected, because when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to 10 TV News This Morning, weekdays from 5 to 9, anywhere you watch.
Delaware County Veterans Services is ready to help you access VA benefits, emergency financial assistance, dental and medical grants, transportation, and more. Give Delaware County Veterans Services a call, 740-833-2010 to schedule an appointment.
Since 1969, Germain Toyota of Columbus has been delivering an exceptional experience to Central Ohio drivers. Whether it's versatile SUVs, stylish trucks, or efficient hybrids, Germain Toyota has a great selection of new and pre-owned vehicles at customer-friendly rates, backed by 2 years of maintenance with Toyota Care and same-day service from our trusted team of technicians. Experience the difference with every drive at Germain Toyota of Columbus.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no. Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
Do you need a bank that truly values local business in this town and the opportunity to work right alongside them as partners? Whether you're a small business or a large operation, Riverside Bank of Dublin has the right tools for the job. Riverside Bank of Dublin has the experience of working right here in Central Ohio. They understand the business climate in our area, and they're going to help you reach your goals. So whether you need an SBA loan to get your business off the ground, a line of credit to keep your business running smoothly, or equipment financing to get your business up to scale, Riverside Bank will tailor a solution that fits your needs. Visit them at riverside.bank or stop in to get to know them in person at 6300 France Road. Riverside Bank of Dublin, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
We have a desire and passion for great customer service. Every detail is important to us. From your first phone call to the end of the project, Newman is here to help you every step of the way. We're here to educate you so you understand what's happening with your roof. We're in your corner to help you be confident in your decision. After all, when your name is on it, it just means more. We are Newman.
If you're looking for the inside scoop on the Buckeyes, you've come to the right place. This is Morning Juice.
Hey, Bob, we'll get to AJ here shortly. I just want to share this with you because I know you're not, because of the way your setup is there, you're not necessarily in the chat, but Pumpkin Ryan Day said, Bobby, haven't been here much all week. Sorry to hear about your dad, sir. You and your family are in our prayers. I'm a Golden Gale class of 02. Your dad will always have a special place in my heart. So that was from Pumpkin Ryan Day there in the chat. So anyway, wanted to share that with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's been a tough journey here, but a lot of support. Got a lot of text messages here over the last couple of days and trying to respond to them all and just appreciate all of the well wishes.
I'm getting text messages too, Bob, like, hey, is everything okay with Bob's dad? And all this stuff, like people are saying, like, they'll send me a message about it, they heard about it, and I've just, it has been, I'm sure on your end, I can only imagine it's probably 100-fold what I've gotten. So, all right, Bodie, do we have AJ?
Efforting.
Okay, we'll see if we can get AJ on here shortly. AJ, you said, Bob, you guys crossed paths out there in lacrosse world earlier?
Yeah, I saw him last weekend when we were in Maryland. He was out here with his oldest son, Hendrix, who will be an 8th grader. So he plays in the same club that my son does. He's just a year older. So saw him out here. And then I got to hang out with his lovely wife on Tuesday and Wednesday as she was here. Now, they flew back, or maybe I don't know what they did, but they're going to be out here in Philly again this week. So I'm sure I'll see her again. He is with his daughter in a basketball tournament or something this weekend. So I'm not sure. I didn't even think about reaching out. I know that he's running around and got a lot of stuff going on. So we've got a chance to see them. So you have to drive 7 hours to be able to hang out with your friends who live in the same city as you.
That's amazing. And look, I'm not at that level yet. I don't know if I will be at that level for that matter, to where I've got to like drive to like the East Coast for a weekend of sports yet. I'm not, I mean, Artie's good. I'm not sure he's that good or not. Charlotte's getting better at swimming, but I guess that's the trade-off. Your kid's good at sports. You're going to end up doing stuff like that.
I mean, there's worse things to be doing in the world. It's honestly, it's been very enjoyable to spend this much time with my son. We got 4 kids, so it's hard to get a lot of one-on-one time with them. And we've hung out with some friends. We've got to do some cool stuff. Walked around, the Washington Mall, and saw a lot of the memorials and monuments and everything, and that was cool. And just having conversations. I mean, hell, it was a 3-hour drive from the D.C. area up to Philly. Drove through the state of Delaware. I think that's the first time I've ever been in Delaware. So just crossing some more states off the list of places that I've been. So that was fun. And then it was like another, like you said, 40-minute drive into Philadelphia. So we've been listening to some podcasts, some of our church stuff since we've been gone, and then also just getting a chance to have conversations. I tell him to put his phone down, and we'll talk about sports, stuff that's going on in sports, just school, life, and all those things in general. And it reminded me of a lot of the conversations I would have with my dad when we were driving around, and he would be driving me to some of these different things. Which that from Lancaster, that was like going to Grove City or like Westerville. We didn't do any of this travel. Traveling to Columbus was a big deal.
Interesting, Bobby. It's like that the timing of these things when they happen. You know what I mean? Like, and the fact that you're getting this time with your son right now. Everything else is going on, but and I know you said you got 4 kids. I've got, I don't know how many I've got, but anyway, it's. I don't want to say it's forced alone time with your son, but it's scheduled alone time. Because the fact it's just the 2 of you out there, and that's pretty cool. You get to spend that time. I joked about the fact that I don't necessarily want to go on the East Coast for a tournament with one of my kids, but that would be one of the good byproducts of it. Is it does put you in a position where you are spending time together, and there's none of the other kids are around, no spouse around. It's just the 2 of you.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get to focus on that, and I know my oldest son, they're back in Columbus, and my youngest son are there. They're with my in-laws, and I've talked to him a little bit, and I know that they miss us and they want us back. So it's good because, like I said, my wife, she's somewhere in Jersey right now, handling my daughter. So that's her whole deal. This is it though for me. We are done after this. The girls, my daughter, they have to come back here, I think, in the middle of July and have one more tournament. So I will probably not be a part of that. I'll be handling the boys and be back in Columbus to be able to deal with that. So that's going to be my role. But it is the forced alone time, and I'm making put his phone down. And for part of it, like, you can text your friends, you can do whatever, you can listen to your own music, but there's going to be times to have conversations, and that's the best. That when my dad would take me places, that was always fun. Just sitting there and listening to him tell the stories and talk. And we went over to the Naval Academy, and you get introduced to people and different stuff. And I mean, I'm probably past the point of my kid thinking that I'm cool, but I was like, at least I know a lot of people, buddy, and we can get to some pretty cool spots and do some fun stuff.
You mentioned, you said my wife is somewhere in Jersey. Sounded like a Springsteen song to me when you said it that way. Maybe there's one like that.
Jersey
my wife
girl.
is somewhere in Jersey. We're efforting. I don't know, AJ might not have today.
Probably no effort. He said he keeps calling in, and it just sounds like robots. And Ben's on PTO this week, so there's No person in this building to fix it.
Jeremiah Smith, Julian Sand, and Jalen McClain are going to be with Ryan Day for Big Ten Media Days. That comes up July 28th through the 30th. It'll be in Chicago for that one. Jeremiah Smith was just named the first ever 99 overall for the launch of an EA Sports college football game. And last year, Smith was there with Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles, the Big Ten Media Days, when they were in Las Vegas, Bob. The media days, is it realistic to think you'll get much information out of those, or is this just more dog and pony show?
I think the players are, these guys, they've grown up in it. I think they're a little more honest than maybe people ever have been before. I think Jeremiah Smith will be honest, and it's been interesting watching his evolution. They took him last year, and I was a little surprised just because he's not a guy that talks a lot. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I'm over at the Woody quite a bit, and I haven't heard him speak but a handful of times in the last 2.5, 3 years. So he's not a big talker. And so I think that was one of Ryan's things last year. He's like, listen, you're a very popular player. People are going to talk to you next year in the NFL. You don't have to necessarily be, out there in the media all the time and hosting your own podcast and doing stuff like that. But it is important for growth. And so you've watched him kind of get more comfortable in public, get more comfortable behind a microphone, at the podium, talking to people and doing those things. It's just practice because you're going to have to do it in the NFL and you're going to have to do it at the NFL Combine. So answering some tough questions out there, not that he's going to get crazy ones, but there'll be some tough stuff. And so I think that's very good and beneficial for him to do.
I wonder, Bob, how much of, and like you said, he doesn't, you don't hear him speak that much, and you're around the program quite a bit, and the public doesn't hear him speak that much. And I wonder how, if at all, that impacts his chances at the Heisman Trophy or postseason awards. And I guess in my mind, I feel like because there's so many Heisman voters versus, I don't know how many, I got to believe there's more Heisman voters than like the Biletnikoff voters. I would think that'd be the case. But do you think that does affect his campaigns at all for those awards?
Well, I think being forward-facing helps. I mean, he has tons of great film. He plays in a lot of big games. And he's not a quarterback, but yes, if you're going to win the Heisman, a receiver, although Devontae Smith, I don't think he's somebody that still does a lot of media stuff and, isn't some over-the-top personality, and he won it. Now, you have to have a confluence of events that happens for that to be the case if you're a non-quarterback. But I think that Jeremiah has improved at that. He's gotten more comfortable. And because of that, it makes you more marketable. There's just a lot of things. And so if that's important to you, it's a skill that you have to develop. But he's going to have to go through the combines next year, meeting with teams. And not that there's anything that he could do that would lower his stock, but I think it's pretty impressive if he can go there and you start to see him parcel together, this personality and get up there and be able to talk and, deliver in succinct, coherent answers that have some depth and thought to them. Because I always like to champion Ohio State's got some of the smartest players in the country. And when people hear him talk, like that was guys that were at the Combine last year, they said Sonny got up there, Arvell, they're like, these guys were awesome. And you're hoping that Jeremiah Smith continues to carry that torch.
Yeah, it's something where when you think of some of the more, the Heisman Trophy winners that are more vocal, I think of Woodson, I think of Desmond Howard, I think of like RG3, guys like that. And that's the part I wonder about and I know Ohio State, and I'm sorry, I should say this, Bob, because I don't know. I believe Ohio State does a really good job of helping players be media savvy. I don't know how much coaching goes in that. Am I right on that?
I don't know if it's being media. Maybe there was a time where it was media savvy. Now it's just, can you develop your guys to be able to get up and speak in front of people? And can you learn to do that? Can you develop those skills and traits? And they would talk about that when we came in and kind of teach us how to kind of do it a little bit. But yeah, there is a degree of coaching with this. And, we've got such smart players. And it's guys like, not everybody's going to want to be out and be in front of that. But if you want to, you have the opportunity and options. And, you have a lot of former players that are doing a lot of different stuff in the media across the country. And so those guys are resources. They help. And I tell guys, you want to be good at something, you got to practice it. Like, you didn't get to be a great player because you just went out and played the games. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And that's a function. Then you watch it, talk to people about it, go through some of that stuff. So there are elements of that and that training that does take place at Ohio State. And I think you can feel it permeate through I guess, through the players as they're in front of the camera.
Bob, I know there's a lot of obviously OSU alumni, athletics alumni too, throughout the country with how many the numbers they average, just amazing. But like for last week, I got to meet Otis Winston, who played like in the mid '90s on the Ohio State basketball team, was a captain there, ran track also. I'm sorry.
Played track. Good job. Good correction on that.
Thank you, Bob. I picked up on it. Anyway, he's an actor now. Maurice Hall is doing what he does. It's just it's amazing to me how many of, and I'll say it, you people have gone into media, and I wonder how that compares to other schools.
You know what's amazing is I heard this term yesterday for the first time. We were at my cousin's building, and we went to see one of her friends. And her friend is married to a guy who played lacrosse at Delaware. His twin brother was a really good lacrosse player, played in the PLL for like 15 years. And I heard her drop the term, and she wasn't very tall or whatever. And her husband's like 6'3", and she was looking at my son, and she's like, I'm just a NARP. I was like, a NARP? She goes, yeah, non-athletic regular person. That's what my husband tells me all the time. And Colin's like, oh, yeah. It's like people say it all the time. I go, well, I used to just call that Gen Pop. I was like general population versus like high-level athletes. And it was funny. I'd heard that term, and it's like, okay, well, there we go. It's something I have to build into the lexicon with all of this. So, yeah, there's the NARP. You got the NARPs out there, and then you've got people that are high achievers that have been blessed physically and, want to take those blessings and parlay that into potentially another industry.
The fact I'm athletic and not a regular person, and my wife, I'm not going to call her a NARP, though, Bob. I think that'd be disrespectful for me to do that. I know I'm not a NARP, correct?
I mean, you might be the definition of a NARP at this point in your life. Now, maybe at some point you weren't there, but I think you kind of just pushed the chips in and got back from the table a little bit. I don't know, a handful of years ago.
I've never been accused of pushing back from the table, Bob. Since it's National Forgiveness Day, I'll forgive you for that slam. But yes, so but that's just amazing to me. Ohio State, all these people, you see it all the time. It seems like any kind of ESPN broadcast, see Fox, it'll be at some point, somewhere, some way, you'll see an Ohio State guy.
Do you realize, Bodie, that Dwayne Johnson and Jeff Thitoff are the same age?
I wouldn't have had that. Wouldn't have been able to guess that exactly. I don't think. No, not.
He's
off the top
55.
Of my head.
He's turning 55, so.
Oh, you know what, Bob, I'm going to do?
Slightly older.
Okay. I bet if I shave my head, you'll think, wait, which one's which? I think the hair is what separates us. That's the difference.
Who wore better?
We'll keep our clothes on, but I'll shave my head.
Why?
We will see. We will see who is who on that one. Folks, that's it for another week of Morning Juice. The chatters, you guys were great. Thank you for all your kind thoughts, too, and prayers for Bob's father. Love you, Blue. And, Bob, get back safely, and we'll see you here on Monday. Thank you to all of our guests this week. Thank you to Porty for joining us today. We appreciate that. It's been a great week, folks. Jackets Draft is tonight, and we'll have a special over on 97.1 The Fan. This has been Morning Juice.